You see the job title product manager pop up everywhere, right? From the buzziest startups to the biggest companies in the world. But what do they actually do? Well, today we're going to cut through the noise and figure out what this job is all about, separating the myths from the real deal mandate.
Okay, let's start with the big one. You've probably heard this quote from the legendary venture capitalist Ben Horowitz. It sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? The CEO of the product. I mean, that's the line that has probably launched 1,000 careers. But is it, true?
Well, not really. The truth is a little more complicated, and honestly, a lot more interesting. See, a CEO has actual authority. They have direct reports. They can tell people what to do. A product manager, on the other hand, has all of the responsibility for a product's success, but basically none of the formal authority. They don't manage the engineers. They don't manage the designers. They have to lead by convincing people, using data and logic. It's all about influence.
So, okay, if the whole CEO thing is kind of misleading, what should we use instead? What's a better, more accurate way to think about what a product manager does every single day?
For my money, a much better definition comes from investor Josh Ellman. He says a PM's job is to help your team and company ship the right product to your users. Now that might sound simple, but that one sentence, it's got everything. It perfectly splits the role into two big jobs, so let's dig into those right now.
All right, let's tackle that first piece. Help your team and company ship. This is all about execution. It's the part of the job that's focused inward, on just getting things built and out the door.
So what does helping really look like? Well, a lot of it is coordination and communication, making sure engineering, design, and marketing are all rowing in the same direction. But the really critical part is connecting the tiny day-to-day tasks back to the big picture, the company's mission. A PM is always asking that tough question. Out of all the things we could do, what is the one thing we absolutely should do right now to make the biggest difference?
I know that can sound a little abstract, so let's make it real. How can one teeny tiny feature on a screen actually help a company achieve its massive goals, like making more money or getting millions of new users?
The absolute perfect case study here is the original Facebook like button. I mean, think about it. On the surface, it's just a click, no big deal. But look at the strategy behind it. It encourages people to post more stuff. That makes the feed better, which increases engagement and keeps you scrolling longer. And every single like is a piece of data that helps Facebook's algorithms get smarter. That's it right there. That's how a PM connects a small feature to huge business value.
So the bottom line is that shipping isn't just about launching something. It's about delivering real, measurable value. Even when things are messy, the data isn't perfect, and you're constantly making tough choices.
Okay, so that brings us to the second half of that definition, shipping the right product to your users. This is the other side of the coin. This is the strategic, outward-facing part of the job. Because it's not enough to just build stuff. You have to build the right stuff.
So many teams fall into this trap of becoming what we call a feature factory. They're just cranking out features from a list, focused on output. But a great PM is focused on building a value factory. They are obsessed with outcomes, like, did we actually solve a real problem for someone? Are we making their life easier?
So how do you actually know if you're pulling it off? How do you measure something as kind of fuzzy as value? It's not like you can just count how many features you launched this month.
You gotta look at the data. You look for signals. Are people coming back to use your product day after day? That's retention. Would they actually recommend it to a friend? That's your Net Promoter Score, or NPS. Are more people using it every single day? That's your daily active users. These are the vital signs that tell a PM if they are building the right product.
And this all boils down to one fundamental truth. A company only exists to serve its users. But guess what? The users aren't in the strategy meetings, they aren't in the daily stand-ups. So, a PM's most sacred duty is to be their voice, their champion, inside the building.
Let's put this all together visually. Everything, and I mean everything, in product management starts with the users and what they need.
Now, on the other side of the equation, you've got the company. And it has its own goals, right? It needs to grow, make money, and fulfill its own mission. And the product manager, they live right in the middle of these two worlds. They are the bridge, the translator. Their entire job is to find that magic intersection where solving a user's problem also creates incredible value for the business.
So, what kind of person can actually do this? What skills does it take to be that human bridge between what users want and what the business needs?
It really is a unique mix. You need deep empathy for users, but you also need a sharp business mind. You need to be able to dive into spreadsheets and data, but then turn around and use persuasion and collaboration to get everyone excited about the path forward. It's a true blend of left brain and right brain thinking.
But if you really step back and look at all those skills, the empathy, the business sense, the analytics, they're all in service of balancing just two worlds. The entire job is a constant tightrope walk between these two domains.
And that brings us to a final, thought-provoking question. We know a PM's job is to translate user needs into company goals. But isn't it also to translate company goals into products that users will actually love? Which way does that translation flow? Which direction is more important? That constant push and pull, that tension, well, that's the real heart of product management.